Hey everybody, this is the 3994 podcast. I'm Jodie O'Brien. Thank you so much for watching this week. We ask that you share, comment, like, subscribe if you're having a good time watching this. We love to bring you this awesome original content right here in Savannah, and so we want to continue to do that. Today we are joined by Dr. Clarence Green. Some of you may know Clarence from Northwest. If you went to Northwest, which a lot of people around here did, you know Clarence, but we don't know him, right? We all think we know him, but today we're actually going to get to know Clarence.
Uh-oh.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, and thank you for having me. It's neat to reconnect in Savannah, Missouri.
You know this, and I want other people to know this, that you were such an encourager to me when I was there. I was new. We were doing a new strategic plan on well-being, and you were just so supportive.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well,
so thank you.
That's the question today is, were you born an encourager? I mean, how did you get to be who you are today?
Probably a lot from my parents and my experiences of growing up. You know, and I tell people this all the time. Most of my life, probably all of my life, when my mom was with us every day and every day we talked, she always told me I was going to be something special. You know, you're going to do something special. And although, you know, I did a lot of not so special things growing up, you know, I was a kid and had some fun and had some adventures, but she always reminded me, but boy, you're going to be something special. And so, I think that type of encouragement all my life has helped me think about how do you encourage others. And we've talked a little bit, like I love podcasts. I love listening and learning from individuals. So I think also I try to live a life where I think about every day, you know, if you see someone doing something positive, you should be telling them that, because you don't know when that time's going to expire and you won't get that moment to share, you know, what you thought of that person, or when someone does a good act, that we should have more encouragement in the world.
Well, it's crazy because mom telling you that has changed a lot of people's lives. I mean, it has. We can't underestimate the power and the influence that you had at Northwest. I mean, truly. Just coming on, you were a police officer there for 26 years?
Yes, quite a while. Yes, ma'am.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was fun.
And the influence that you had over thousands of students. Like, let's just talk about how it began for the outsiders looking in. The TikTok.
Oh, that's oof.
Dancing on camera, being relatable to these students. When you look back on that time, 28 years, about 27 years at Northwest, what are you most proud of?
I think just the interactions we were able to have with faculty, staff, and students and build strong relationships is what I'm most proud of. We had a great team, always worked with great individuals, and we were able to do some things that are still sustainable to this day. You know, like students started Safe Ride Home there. Students started the social media. There was a couple of students who we worked with. And then a lot was probably just some others, like a Dr. Matt Baker, who would always say, you know, we move at the speed of relationships and we move at the speed of trust. And, you know, if you could develop trust. And so really worked hard at that. And those are the things I'm most proud of, just getting to work with a lot of great people and still have contact with those great people such as yourself has really touched my life.
Yeah. Well, let's give a shout out. Matt Baker.
We'll give him one.
I mean, there's so many people at Northwest.
Oh, there were several. Yeah,
and what made you go to Northwest?
I chose Northwest largely because I wanted to go away somewhere that was away from some close friend groups, because I thought I wasn't as sure of myself as I really needed to be. And if I was around some of those friend groups, I was afraid I would fail. I wouldn't make it through college. Would I enjoy myself too much? So I wanted to break away and really do it on my own, per se. But, you know, no one really does anything on their own. We always have help. And I had a lot of help along the way. You know, like I think of Dr. Leslie Galbraith, several key people. Dr. Hubbard, you know, was always in my ear. And I graduated college in 3 years, but it wasn't as good as what it sounds, you know. Like, I don't think college is just about persistence. You know, it's not about difficulty. Most instructors are going to be kind and help you through it. But I was so afraid that what if I don't make the team the next year and I lose my scholarship? And so I wish I would have slowed down, took my time, smelled a few roses.
Okay, this was a good question. So what made you go into law enforcement? Were you just wanting to stay in Maryville?
No, law enforcement has always been something I was interested in life. And early on in life, I had a great influence. A young man named Boone Anderson was the police chief in my community, and he lived around the corner from me. And so I grew up being around him, learning stories from him. And then my dad has always liked his son better, a little bit better, I always thought, than he liked me. And his son played quarterback for the rival school. And I told my dad, I'm going to sack this guy, and really punish him. And then I'm going to go into law enforcement because I don't think he will. And I'll be a better police officer than him. And his dad, but this Boone Anderson was always a good mentor in my life. And I was like, I hope you do sack my son. And I sacked his son 8 times that day. But what was funny about it is I sacked him 8 times and my dad said, I don't know what everybody brags about you being any good. I'm thinking like 8 sacks is a lot in one game. But it was kind of fun.
Okay.
But I had a great experience, and I chose law enforcement because it kind of chooses you. It's about service, and that's always been very important in me in my life. Some key people early on in my life had helped us out as a family to serve us. And so I saw people volunteering, people stepping up, and I wanted to step up and do something, but I also wanted to try to change the narrative on law enforcement as well about being more relationship centered. Being an organization that helps rather than arrest, but we can help also by getting folks into the certain systems to assist them as well. And so law enforcement was great to me, great to my family. I loved it.
So when you had that ability to do it at Northwest for that length of time, we talked about a couple of things where you made a difference in, but I heard a story the other day.
Uh-oh. Now you're making me nervous.
Now this guy's old, okay?
Uh-oh.
He's not a young boy. So it was a long time ago, but he was like, yeah, we were wheeling something down the street, and Clarence was like, where are you going with that?
Uh-oh.
So, I mean, there's so many people that you've had an impact on, really.
Oh, I appreciate it.
But I want to talk to you about that mentorship, because even today, it takes me a long time to read a book, like a year. But I'm reading this book about mentorship, and these people that authored the book think that mentorship is what is going to solve all the issues in America. They're like, you have no idea the power. So talk to me about that. It sounds like early in your life you had some mentors.
Yes.
But then you have several mentees that you are taking care of over the years, right?
Well, I think of mentorship as we're always mentored throughout our life. And I still have several mentors now. And a lot of people may say I'm mentoring them, but truly they're mentoring me. I'm always trying to learn from them and stay sharp. And so I learn a lot from some people who say I mentor them. And I know I learn from those who mentor me as well. And so I love the idea of reverse mentorship. Getting one in a whole different role than you're in, outside of your frame of work, and perhaps a lot younger than you also, just to let you know about what's going on in society, what pressures they're experiencing. And so I'm a big believer in mentorship as well. I hope that book is right. I would love to know the title of that book. I'm an avid reader, and so I'm always trying to find what is that piece of knowledge that's really going to send us over the edge.
It's so good. It's so good. One of the stories in the book talks about, they tell the whole story, and at the end of the story they say, and this person who was so influenced by mentors in her life was Condoleezza Rice.
You're kidding me.
And you're like, what?
Wow. I would have never guessed. Yes.
No, you're like, I would have never thought that was her story.
Yes, same
And
here.
so the relationships that we build with people are so key. And obviously, when you look back, I mean, do you think that's part of the reason, because you're so relational and because you're like a big warm hug to some people? You give good hugs, by the way.
We'll take it.
Do you think that was why you were tapped for VP of Culture? Other interim positions at Northwest, interim president at Northwest, and now at North Central?
I've been very fortunate in my life to have a lot of great experiences. I think it was tapped probably because of those relationships that I've built over time. I imagine you're right. I never really have thought about why. I've always thought, boy, when you're tapped, there's a famous quote by Churchill when he talks about, boy, would you really hate to be worthy? I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to butcher it, to be up for your greatest calling and not being able to accept it. And then some people, like I remember talking with the former board President John Moore, they're saying, like the organization, the institution needs your help. And I went to that school, that community, that school means a lot to me. All of my kids have went to that school, my wife and my grandson, he will be going there as well, And so when I think about all of those things, that's very important to me. And so when someone says they need my help, I will always be there for them.
Well, I worked under you, let's say, and Clarence, you were like a balm to that campus. Like you bridged the gap so beautifully between the two presidents, and everyone said it. They're like, he's so healing right now. We needed him. So great job.
No, I appreciate it.
Now North Central,
yes,
how you
place.
ended up in Savannah, I don't know how we got so lucky. Tell us about that journey.
Well, I'm the fortunate one. I thought I was going to retire and didn't really know what was next. And so I encourage everyone, never retire. Keep working the rest of your life. But if you're ready to retire, retire, But it wasn't good for me when I retired. I didn't really have a plan. And then once I found a path and I applied for the position here, fortunate enough to get the position, worked for great folks like Dr. Lenny Claver, Dr. Lundry, Dr. Al, tons of great individuals from North Central. But then the Savannah community, it's been very, very embracing, very kind community. I'm a member of Rotary here. I'm a member of a lot of 10 Squared, Andrew County, a lot of great people. And I always measure a community by, it's kind of an odd way to do it. I take my vehicle to be serviced at Victory Chevrolet. I don't know if they're a sponsor, but they're getting a plug.
They're about to be.
But I take my vehicle there. It's probably once a month I'm getting it serviced. Or I'm just in there because I like the smell of tires. It's kind of weird. But then I always walk back over there. And when I first started doing that, no one would stop. And then now I'll get about 12 officers for a ride, and scooters will bring me coffee out, like it's just such a welcoming community.
You're famous in Maryland, right? No, you are. So then when you come here, we're like, oh, people need to get to know him ASAP. So that's been a joy for me to see people get to know you because you are such a presence and you do bring so much joy. So on behalf of Savannah, I want to welcome you because we are glad to have you.
I'm glad to have it. It's really healing for me and really great to be in a community just to help serve and move things forward. We have such a great place here and we're on the verge of something special, with what's next for us. Is it going to be building out a pool? Is it going to be building out an industrial complex to build out more industry for our community to help with a larger tax base? There's 1,000 things going on, but I think it's 1,000 great things.
Okay, so tell me about North Central. I meant to bring my newspaper. I just read $1.37 million grant for behavioral health. What is that going to mean for Savannah?
Unbelievable. Health service, the Health Resource Service Administration is where we got the grant from, working with Mosaic Life Care to help us with the grant, help us write the grant, as well as be a great partner of ours to think about hiring positions from this grant. This grant's going to allow us to double down on our behavioral health program that we already have as an associate's degree. But also what it's going to bring to Savannah is possibly new population to come into our community that's going to help us with this community health care worker program that we'll be training individuals in. That's going to be the new growth for us because we're going to hopefully bring in tons of new folks that's going to be a part of our campus. And hopefully some of them will stay and be a part of the community, but they're going to be able to help with the behavioral health movement. And that's how we met with dealing around mental health, and that's what those community health workers are aligned to do. It's really to get inside of that mental health network and think about how can we slow some things down as well as speed some things up so that we don't have the strain on the services that we already have within our communities. They will be that cog in between helping those patients deal with how do they get connected to other services? How do they know when their appointments are, reminding them, doing some in-home visits. So I'm really enthralled. I'm really excited about this because it connects back to some former work that we both did together around mental health. And that's something I've always been very passionate about. And so this is going to be a great grant for us. We're going to hire a couple of employees also. So we'll have some positions there. And so hopefully some folks from the community will be interested in those. schools. I think just North Central is just going to continue to grow. We're adding on to the annex. We're calling it the annex where the old USDA was located. We're going to remodel that hopefully within the next 6 to 12 months. And then we're going to think about what's next for the remainder of that strip mall. I think a couple of years from now, we'll see something perhaps going in there or more community discussion about what's next for us, whether that be is that culinary arts, is that public administration, is that automation. There's 1,000 different things going on, but we want to be a part of that, and we want it to be here in Savannah.
What's crazy is you go into that building, and you gave us a tour, Leadership Savannah, and we were all stunned by how nice the campus was. And the resources for these kiddos.
It is unreal.
It really makes you stop and think, okay, should I be encouraging my kid to go out of Savannah and go get a 4-year degree and who knows what? Or is there an ability for them to walk down the street and get a great degree where they're making great money someday? So give me an example of some of those programs.
Yeah, we have a lot of allied health programs with nursing, radiology, sonography, but we also have some very hard skill programs such as our robotics, our industrial maintenance, our commercial power. And really commercial power is really ag mechanics, probably more diesel mechanics than anything. But a lot of our students are all of our students are highly employable while they're in class and definitely when they've completed their courses. But also I would say everybody should take a look at us, because even if they're going to go down the road to get that 4-year degree, here's some interesting data that I recently learned by entering into the community college market. More than 50% of all of the 4-year graduates come from 2-year. So you have a higher chance to be successful at a 4-year by coming from a 2-year. Then if you think about the cost, we're 37% cheaper than all of our 4-year competitors. And so you're going to save funding, you're going to save money there, which cost should be a great thinking. We all should be thinking about costs before we do anything.
An A+.
A+, you could go for free. We have tons of scholarships as well as we have other opportunities. We have a lot of earn and learn programs where we can connect you with an industry leader who will perhaps help with your tuition, if not pay at all, as well as pay you a salary and lead to job placement as well.
I love that. Partnerships with Mosaic, partnerships.
Mosaic, Altech, Gray Manufacturing, Schutz Containers. I can go on and on. We have great partnerships who are willing to invest in our students because it's a great product. When you think about our radiology program, we'll have 16 graduates. All 16 of them will pass the state board test following graduation first time. We have 90% of our nursing will pass the state board test first time. And so all of our instruction is validated by a third party. It's really impressive what our young folks can do and anyone, because we take all ages.
Crazy. It's really crazy.
Yes, and it's a really special place. In Savannah. And it's been life-changing just for me just to witness, I've always thought man, Clarence, you got a lot of grit. You're really tough. But that really comes to question when you're sitting across from someone who's 35 years old or 19 years old. They got 5 kids, they got 2 kids, and they're working. 90-some% of our students are working, 40% are single moms. You see they're working nights, they're getting off, they're right there at 7:30 a.m. Look at our parking lot at 7:30 a.m. You'll see tons of cars out there, students wanting to get in and go to class, and they're in class from 7, they're there at 7:30, classes start at 8 or 8:30, and then they're in class to 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then they're going home to transition to be mom or dad and take care of kids as well as study if they don't have clinicals. Because all of our programs have a component where they're going to get a real world experience inside of the industry that they're going to go into. That's required. And so they're going to have a clinical. Then they got to go to work. And they're willing to fight through that for 11 months, 12 months, or 24 months to get to that mobility factor that they want to do, whether it's social, financial, and that's really extraordinary. And that's what real grit is in my mind. It's kind of made me step back and think, I'm not as tough as I thought, because I don't think I could have done that.
Yeah, no, me either. Crazy. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, I didn't give you a proper introduction.
No,
so
no, yes,
as
please.
we end, I want to make sure that I say Dean of North Central
We'll take
Missouri
it.
College.
Yes.
So proud of you.
No.
And I'm nobody, but
Oh,
I'm
shucks,
proud of you.
you're everybody.
No. And then also, I wanted to mention you were on the committee for the United States Attorney General Law Enforcement Coordinating.
Yes.
It was the committee for
Yes.
that. And then also Malcolm, did you say
Malcolm Baldrige? Yes.
Baldrige,
Yes. Yeah.
fellow.
Yes.
And then on top of all that, of course, another person in Savannah named Ingram's Magazine's top 50 Missourians you should know.
Yes.
Now I've interviewed two. How cool is that?
Oh, shucks.
Annette Weeks being
Yeah.
the other.
Oh, excellent.
We are so excited that you came on today. So honored. You know what a fan I am of yours. And
Same here. I'm excited for 3994 and where it's going. And thank you for bringing this to our community because it's very well needed. And I loved when you talked about it last week of this is going to be something that you're going to spread throughout Northwest Missouri. We got to think about regional.
Yeah,
And so I love that regional approach as well.
yeah, it's exciting.
Yes.
The 3994 are the coordinates of this whole region, so that's super exciting. You know, I wanted to mention too that a lot of people don't know that this podcast, what originated in my mind while I was at Northwest was I wish I could do a mental health podcast.
Wow.
And the reason why was because myself, I was trying to get into a provider and it took 6 months. That's how long the waiting list was. We have an extreme shortage of providers in this area. And so when I read the article about this grant, I was proud. It speaks to me. It speaks to my family. I mean, you know, you could look at what I'm doing now and say, oh, you know, Jodie never struggled. Well, that's not true. Like I struggled. And so this started out as the idea of, should I do a mental health podcast? How cool would that be?
Yes.
But really it's turned into much more because that's one of many subjects we need to cover. But the mental health thing, super passionate about it. And again, thank you for
thank you.
working on
I
that.
appreciate you just sharing your past and your story. And I think this is a mental health podcast.
Aw.
Sometimes folks just need to listen, hear from others, think about things.
Yeah.
And I think it can reframe and change their lives as well. So I think you are doing your initial work of a mental, because I listened to them all. And I just now learned that I can watch them as well. And so I'm going to try that as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, Clarence, thank you.
No, thank you.
And thank you for watching this episode of the 3994. I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. Of course, you've heard it before. We've got the Bunker Club, Gina's Cafe. We are so grateful to have United Fiber and North Central Missouri College. We are also honored that Sweet Storage and Edward Jones, Jason Sarsney, has been a sponsor, and of course, Greater Than Financial. We are so grateful for all your support. We're asking you to go like, share, comment, subscribe. That helps us continue to put good content on this podcast, so if you will. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you.